Good morning. Welcome to the Maryland Public Service Commission's administrative meeting for February 3rd, 2021. We'll begin today with approval of the minutes from our last meeting on January 27th, 2021. A vote of those minutes approvals begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
And Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
I vote aye. The meeting minutes are approved. Good morning, Mr. Secretary.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. There's only one item on today's consent agenda. It's a request from Access Point, Inc. to cancel its operating authority.
Seeing no questions on this item, I would move that we note the acquisition by GTT Americas LLC of the corporate stock of Access Point Communications Incorporated, that we note the consolidation of Access Point Incorporated into GC Pivotal LLC, that we note the transfer of the customers of Access Point Incorporated to GC Pivotal LLC, that we note that GC Pivotal LLC did not provide the former customers of Access Point Incorporated a customer notice that satisfies the requirements in COMAR and the Federal Communication Commission's regulations regarding the transfer of the customers to GC Pivotal LLC, and that we rescind Access Point Incorporated's local exchange operating authority and cancel its respective tariffs. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
And Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
I vote aye. The motion is approved. Mr. Secretary, the administrative agenda.
Mr. Chairman, item number 2 on the administrative agenda consists of revised tariff pages from Delmarva Power and Light Company reflecting current FERC-approved transmission rates. On this item, we have Doug McKeel for the company and Anna Joy Thompson for staff.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Thompson.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Anna Joy Harris on behalf of staff. On December 31st, 2020, Delmarva Light and Power Company filed revised tariff pages to reflect the current Federal Energy Regulatory Commission's approved transmission rates, which went into effect on September 1st, 2020. Overall, the filing reflects the $1.8 million decrease in transmission revenue, driven primarily by a change in peak load contributions, a change in transmission revenue from the previous filing in 2018, and changes in the FERC formula rate. The estimated net bill impact of Delmarva's proposed change in transmission retail rates to a residential SOS customer with an average consumption is 2 cents per month. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the revised tariff pages with an effective date of February 1st, 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Your maiden name, yet it still confuses me. Your Zoom name is a little different.
I apologize. I'll have to update it.
We'll turn to the company. Good morning, Mr. McKeel.
I have nothing to add to Ms. Harris's recommendations. Appreciate her work on this matter.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions? Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A quick question, either for the company or for staff. How are the transmission customers of Old Dominion Electric Cooperative impacted by these proposed changes to the tariff, if at all?
Let me see if I have Michael Normand on, the subject matter expert. I would assume that the Old Dominion Cooperative has to pay the tariffed rates, but I don't know the exact answer to that question, Mr. Commissioner.
Yeah, to the extent that for the FERC formula rate, and in terms of what, and sorry, let me introduce myself, Michael Normand.
Mr. Norman, we've lost your connection. Perhaps if you turn off your video, we could hear your audio better.
Okay. Is that better for everyone? I hope.
Much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I apologize for that. The FERC formula rate, ODEC would have to pay the stated FERC formula rate, but in terms of our retail transmission rate, it is incorporated in the overall rate where we have our Delmarva rate for the network integrated transmission service. We also have the ODEC rate for network integrated transmission service, and then all the transmission enhancement charges. It develops our overall retail transmission rate.
So what I'm really asking, and I appreciate all that, what I'm really asking is if there's a 2 cent per month increase on the average electric customer due to this proposed change in the Delmarva service territory, is there a corresponding 2 cent change resultant for the average residential customer of ODEC?
I do not believe so. I think that would be only applicable to the Delmarva customers in the Delmarva zone.
Okay. This is such a small amount. I'm really asking to try to understand, because in the next item, it's not such a small amount, and there's another electric cooperative involved and tangled up in these tariff changes, and I want to see if I can better understand it, but I'm willing to wait until the next item on the administrative agenda, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, I would move that we accept the tariff provisions for filing with an effective date of February 1st, 2021. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
And Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
I vote aye. The motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman, item number 3 on the administrative agenda also consists of revised tariff pages from Potomac Electric Power Company, reflecting current FERC-approved transmission rates. On this item for staff, we have Anna Joy Harris, and for the company, Doug McKeel and Lance Schaefer.
Thank you. Ms. Harris.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Anna Joy Harris on behalf of staff. On December 31st, 2020, Potomac Electric Power Company filed revised tariff pages to reflect the current Federal Energy Regulatory Commission's approved transmission rates, which went into effect on June 1st, 2020. Overall, the filing reflects an $84.7 million decrease in transmission revenue, driven primarily by a FERC settlement, a change in peak load contributions, a change in transmission revenue from the previous filing in 2018, and changes in the FERC formula rate. The estimated net bill impact of PEPCO's proposed change in transmission retail rates to a residential SOS customer with an average consumption is a decrease of $6.25 per month. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the revised tariff pages with an effective date of February 1st, 2021.
Thank you. Mr. Michael.
Nothing to add to Ms. Harris's recitation. Appreciate the buck sheet. And Mr. Schaefer should be on to answer any questions, or I'll attempt to answer questions.
Okay, thank you. I suspect Commissioner O'Donnell's questions stand. Mr. Schaefer, I did see you join the conversation. I'll turn it back over to Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is a decrease, which is always a good thing from the customer's perspective in terms of revenue going out of their bank account, but it's significant in that it's $6.25 a month, and so I'm trying to figure out, and I really couldn't get it from the last time I asked the question, so I tried to maybe give some time to think about it for somebody. How are the SMECO customers, the residential average retail customers, affected by this PEPCO change?
One moment. Let me check on this. Of course, I know how our customers are affected by this. They are going to receive that decrease. But let me look very quickly to see if this impacts our SMECO customers.
Mr. Michael, if you're speaking to us, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying, Commissioner O'Donnell, if we don't have that answer right now, we'd be happy to get back to you on that. I'll let Mr. Schaefer take a look, but we'd be happy to, get back to you with that answer.
Of course, I'm going to vote to support this. I'm not asking for that reason. There's always, I remember from 2 years ago, there was some discussion of these tariffs, and similar questions came probably from me. How do the two utilities affect each other in this regard? And I'm still not sure I understand it, but I'm willing to wait for a more thoroughly vetted answer. That's fine. I'm going to support this item. So if that's the direction, I'd appreciate the information when it's available.
SMECO transmission rates were approved in November.
Right, but I'm wondering how this affects that. If you look at the buck sheet, right, it talks about there's a tie between the two, but it's not clear to me how that tie, actually plays out.
My understanding is that transmission is part of the SOS rate. So under this, since the transmission rate is decreasing, the SOS rate, as it's impacted by the transmission rate, will decrease everything else the same. However, in terms of the average bill impact, there are different utilities, so they have different customer charges, for example. So the percent decrease might not be exactly the same.
Yeah, but I want to understand. I want to get a thank you for that, Ms. Harris. I want to have a fuller understanding of the exact impact. Not the general impact.
For the exact impact, I'll need a little more time, but it looks like they pay the zonal rates, but they don't pay those retail rates that we have published there. So
Thank you. I'm sorry.
thank you.
Enough time, Mr. Chairman. I'll wait a more thorough response just so I can better understand it. I really would like to understand how these two utility customers are impacted by the various, whether it's SMECO changing it now that they're a transmission owner, or Pepco changing it, and how they interact and interplay with each other. Because we only report the impact on a Pepco customer, but if there is an impact on a SMECO customer, I'd like to kind of understand that.
We will get back to you with an answer to that question, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you for that discussion. Any additional questions? Seeing none, I would move that we accept the tariff provisions for filing with an effective date of February 1st, 2021. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
And Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
I vote aye. The motion is approved. With no additional business on today's agenda, today's meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.